So I'm honoured to be joined here by Adam Smith, GBM Fight Week. Adam, how are we?
Very good, very excited. I mean, what a weigh-in. It was ferocious, it was intense, it was atmospheric. It's a bit cold now, but it was great. And to see so many fighters wanting victory so much. Yeah, all British affairs, apart from Christian Tan, although he's an adopted Brit. He's been here, he's lived here long enough. And the Greek god as well, who's actually been over in Preston training for the Maxi Hughes fight under Dave Fitzgerald. So a very British feel to the fights. Main event, obviously, incredibly important for Shaq Thompson, GBM poster boy. But River Wilson Ben told me after his last fight he wanted him. He's told me he's going to beat him up. He's told me that Shaq is an illusion. So let's see if River can prove a point. Shaq Thompson is undefeated. He's, I believe, one of the best kept secrets in the country. He's tall, he's rangy, he's an ambassador outside of the ring as well. And look, he's got a tough task on his in front of him tomorrow. River's fought at a higher level, but I think it's something that Shaq can come through. But let's see. River's there to test him, and he believes he's taking their belts back to Coventry. And I really genuinely believe he believes that 100%. So I'm looking forward to the main event. You look at Reece Mould and Ryan Walsh, crossroads fight for the pair of them. Really, really interesting. I think stylistically, that might be the show stealer. I think Ryan Walsh, I've loved being around him this week. I feed off the Walsh brothers, I always have done. They're a great trio. I think Ryan's got something left in his locker. Graham Everett does believe that, but it's all saying it in the gym. You've got to do it under the lights where it matters. Reece Mould, unlucky against Gary Cully, wants the rematch. Got a big support here. Good to see Josh Warrington back. What a great career he's had, and pay respect to Josh for that. And he'll be in Maxi's corner. I think he's in both of their corners with a spit bucket and everything. So it'd be great to see Josh right back in and amongst it. Yeah, Maxi Hughes, Hughie Fury, Christian Tunner, a really interesting fight. Hughie Fury back, wants to be in the Saudi mix. So yeah, he's got to make a statement tomorrow night. I think it'll be all about statements. And then, of course, let's not forget the women. All the talk about Sky and Raven in a couple of weeks' time, which I can't wait for. I had Raven on my podcast, the Voice of Boxing podcast, the other day. I want Sky to come on as well, but they've got their business to sort out first. I've had Tycee on, and I want Tori Ellis on, because I think Tori Ellis has got a real chance tomorrow night. Tycee Gallagher's got all the skills, the jab, the experience, but Tori's one of these fighters. She's been on the Team GB podium. She's aggressive, the tornado, and I think that she could prove really difficult for Tycee. I think it's one of those. I'm sort of leaning this way and the other, so that's what you want. So yeah, really exciting fight night. GBM's best fight night, live on the Zone, 5 o'clock tomorrow night.
You speak about your podcast there. Is that something that you sort of obviously, you know, moving into the sort of podcasting industry, interviewing these boxers, you're sort of really enjoying that?
Yeah, look, I was at Sky for a long time and spent many, many nights, weeks, days in training camps with the likes of Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis, Oscar De La Hoya, Diego Corrales, Floyd Mayweather, so many. And obviously over here with Joe and Ricky and AJ and Carl and all the fighters we sort of had come through. Ricky Hatton, of course, from start to finish pretty much. So I've got a real affection for fighters. I've got a real affection for fight people. So I'm working with Lounges TV, which is a phenomenal new streaming company. It's brilliant. Get on board Lounges. And Lounges said to me, why don't you do a podcast? So I thought, why not? So we just started it off. I've had a few cool people. I had Don Charles in the other week telling me what was going to happen to AJ. Yeah, I've had Raven Chapman, I think, is out this week. I've had Loons, which was quite good fun. I've had Hannah Rankin's been in, Tycee Gallagher, Dave Colwell's been in, Johnny Nelson's been in. Not just my friends, I've had different people in. I had Mitchell Smith, which was good fun. I've had Red October. It's been good. Tyler Denny came on. Yeah, so looking for anyone who wants to come on, who's got interesting stories to tell. Yeah, I've got my GBM hat on. I work for Summit Sports. Busy weekend for me because I've got GBM on Friday, and then I'm with Kyle Davis on Saturday. He's another of the best kept secrets in this country. 7-0, super middleweight. He's been sparring with Callum Simpson, Ben Whittaker. He's been sparring with Dan Aziz. He's been sparring with Shaq for this fight too. And I'm with Kyle in his corner on Saturday night in Nottingham. So I'm with Summit, I'm with GBM, I'm doing some podcasts, a bit of talk sport, enjoying myself, and why not? I've had a tough year out with cancer, and had a really fun 30 years at Sky, and now I'm doing some different projects, and it's really nice to be working with great people like Izzy and Mitch, and Ollie Weingarten, and Duncan and Oakley and the team at Summit. So yeah, and also doing a bit with Ready to Fight, which is quite cool, Team Usyk. Did that last weekend and worked with Alexander, so that was good. So yeah, just helping people out, doing different things, and trying to keep myself healthy.
It's almost a week on now, but I feel like still the biggest sort of news in boxing is Daniel Dubois against Anthony Joshua. Did you see that happening?
Not in the manner, no way, shape or form. I thought AJ would win by knockout. I always thought Daniel had a chance with the power, and I was at their one of their sparring sessions back in the day. Never thought that would happen so decisively, no. I thought it would could be a bit of a fire fest. I thought Daniel would probably start out like that, but I thought Joshua would get back behind his jab and sort of box his way through the first 2 or 3 rounds and then start finding holes in the Dubois defense. Daniel was awesome, and I think a lot of the talk has been about AJ and what happens to him. This week, I think that we should be talking more about Dubois. I think it was a phenomenal performance by Daniel. Don Charles, Kieran Farrell, Riz Khan, Dave Dubois, the whole team. I'm so happy for them. I'm gutted for Josh. I've been very close to Anthony for a long time. But he'll come back, and they'll take their time and they'll work out what's right. But I think I'm so pleased for Daniel, because people wrote him off after the Joe Joyce fight. They wrote him off again after the Usyk fight. You know, I was there when he fought Jarrell Miller. I was there when he fought Hrgovic, and he's just come of age in the last year, and it's brilliant. And he's only 27. He's a world heavyweight champion for Britain. Let's get behind him. He's been brilliant, and he could fight Usyk, he could fight Fury, he could fight Joshua, he could fight Zhang, he could fight Parker, he could fight Bakole, he could fight anyone. He could fight Hughie Fury. It's brilliant, and yeah, I love it that we've got a 27-year-old Londoner who's a heavyweight champion. And did the torch pass? Potentially, yes. The iconic Wembley Stadium, synonymous with AJ, and still the site of his greatest triumph in my eyes against Vladimir Klitschko. Now, the site of his greatest defeat, or his most crushing defeat. It's cruel boxing. It's exciting, it's thrilling, it's so unpredictable, particularly the blue ribbon division, which is why we're all fascinated by it. I wrote in Boxing News this week there was a supermoon last week, and funny things happen when supermoons come out, and it was almost 30 years to the day by about 2 days or 3 days, I think. 30 years since Lennox Lewis was stopped by Oliver McCall just over the way at Wembley Arena, and then that happened. So it's funny how the universe works, and now we have a new hero to get behind in Daniel Dubois, and a story about whether Joshua can come back and become the 3-time heavyweight champion that he wants to. Yeah, really sad seeing Team Joshua as they were, shell-shocked Ben Davidson, distraught Eddie Hearn, genuinely gutted, and then AJ braved the press, which I thought was as brave as he was in the fight, courageous till the end. But it was Dubois' night, and the world's his oyster. How exciting.
So my final question, you talked about having David Chapman on your podcast, hoping to get Sky Nicholson. They're having a brilliant fight October the 12th in Saudi Arabia. Just sort of a run through of that card. How good is that card going to be?
Well, first of all, I'm a massive advocate of women's boxing. I'm a great mate of Katie Taylor's, and she was the pioneer. Jane Couch first, then Katie, and then Savannah and Terry and Clarissa and Michaela and everyone that's come through. There's Savannah Marshall, particularly close to being her mentor at Sky, and just seeing what Sky's done. I think Sky's a fantastic ambassador for the sport. I actually got to know Raven in Saudi because we commentated together for BBC. So we struck up a friendship, and I've been sort of supporting her a little bit behind the scenes. She's a great young woman. She's very funny. She's a great fighter. I had her on my podcast the other week. It was just great to chill out with her. And I can't wait to get Sky on. I think it's a really good fight. Tyson and Tori are the best people to talk to because they've done rounds and rounds with both of them, and neither of them can pick it. I think it's a really good fight. Over 10-2s, do I slightly favour Sky? If it was 10-3s, would I slightly favour Raven? that could be interesting. That little point there. Sky's the champion. She's been there before, but I think Raven is a really good fighter, and I'd love her to win. But then I'd like the Sky story. It doesn't matter who wins because I look after Sophie Alish. And Sophie Alish, who's coming back in October and who's undefeated and is a fantastic fighter, and one of our trio with Naraldo Yumeri and Kyle, who I mentioned earlier at Summit Sports. Sophie Alish is gonna come and be part of that. And so is Karis Arsingstall, who I can't forget because I got a soft spot for Karis. But yeah, it's wonderful to have all of these fighters around that featherweight division who are going to make some great fights over the next 2 or 3 years. So whoever wins October the 12th, they could rematch. The other, Karis and Sophie, will join them. And the women's featherweight scene is thriving. As for the card, Bivol Beterbiev, cannot wait for. I love Beterbiev, but I thought Bivol, ever since the fight was announced, I think he's a genius. I think he's just so good on his feet. Wardley Clark, great to see that again. Chris Eubank, after yesterday, let's get him back in the ring. Very interesting what he did. Who else? Jai Bhattacharya, Jack Massey, what an opportunity for Jack. Jai, I think, is one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. Who are we forgetting? Ben Whittaker, Liam Cameron, a life winner. Amazing that he's even in this position, and I wish him the best of luck. Ben Whittaker, I think, is a future superstar. Anyone I've forgotten? Brilliant card. Chris Billam-Smith the next month in a fantastic fight trying to unify. It's great, isn't it? Nick Ball next week. What am I forgetting? Jack Hatch from the end of October. Charlie Edwards, Thomas Asomba, good luck. Sorry I can't be there at the Wasserman Show on Friday night, but unfortunately they clash. No good, and no good for Steel City. Grant Smith, we get Grant, we get the top guy. No, I'm joking. Good luck to them at Wasserman, but we have a really big show, and I believe that the GBM show here on Friday night is one of the best cards of its kind this year for any promoter to put on. I think it's a brilliant card. I'm glad that the Matchroom guys are coming because they're in Sheffield this week too. We're going to have their weigh-in integrated on our show. It's great to be collaborating. Muhammad Ali is a Matchroom fighter on our card. It's great. Great for the Sheffield fans to have a double dose Friday and Saturday because it's one of the great fight cities, but it's fantastic for DAZN to have a brilliant night on Friday and then a brilliant night on Saturday. Boxing's in a good place, and so, yeah, big fallout from what happened at Wembley last weekend with AJ and people saying, you know, that there's a different era coming, and maybe there is. Maybe this is a new era beginning. But I think GBM's in a great place for this new era. Turki Al-Sheikh's changed the whole way boxing has worked over the last year, and for all us pugilistic fans, and that's what we are, and we're lucky enough to be doing what we're doing, you and I. You know, we're going to have some fun over the next few months, aren't we?
Adam Smith, thanks so much for your time.
Pleasure.